Hello there, little listener. Are you ready for a quiet, whispery adventure? A brave little adventure in a place that is full of shadows and secrets? Then come close and listen. This is the story of a little flashlight named Torchy. Torchy lived in a small, comfortable box right next to the attic door. His world was usually cozy and warm, filled with the soft hum of the house. But from behind that door, sounds would sometimes drift down. Not loud, scary sounds, but interesting sounds. Gentle creaks and soft rustles, whispers of stories from long, long ago. Torchy was a very curious flashlight. He would lie in his box and wonder, what was up there? What made the floorboards go creak? What made the dust dance in the slivers of light that peeked under the door? One afternoon, the attic door was left open, just a tiny bit. Just a sliver. A wonderful, mysterious smell drifted out. It was the smell of old books, like stories waiting to be read. It was the smell of warm wood, like a friendly tree giving a hug. And it was the smell of something else, something dusty. Not a bad dusty, but a special, ancient, exciting dusty. Torchy's little heart, which was really just a very strong battery, gave a hopeful buzz. This was his chance. He wanted to see. He needed to know. So with a determined little click, Torchy turned on his own beam. A bright, brave circle of light shone out, cutting through the dim hallway. He took a deep breath, rolled out of his box, and pushed against the heavy door. It swung open with a long, low groaning sound. Creak! And there it was. The attic. It was enormous. It was the biggest place Torchy had ever seen. The roof stretched up high into shadows, and the room seemed to go on forever, filled with shapes that were fuzzy and unclear in the dark. Towers of boxes stood like silent giants. Big, lumpy shapes covered with white sheets looked like sleeping ghosts, having a very long nap. Long strings of cobwebs draped from the ceiling, looking like silver curtains in the faint light. And everywhere, little specks of dust floated and twirled in the single beam of light that was Torchy. It was wonderful. It was a little bit scary. It was an adventure. Torchy rolled forward, his light beam shaking just a tiny bit on the wooden floor. The floorboards beneath him were old and talkative. They groaned and creaked with every little movement he made. Creak, groan, bump. It was like the attic was saying hello in its own sleepy language. Torchy rolled past a big box. He rolled past a chair with 3 legs. He rolled under a table with a long, droopy cloth. He was having so much fun. He saw a toy train with a happy painted face, sleeping on its side. He saw a stack of books so tall he wondered if they held all the stories in the world. He was being so very brave. But then Torchy stopped. He turned around to look back the way he came, and his beam of light just stopped. It landed on a big, sheet-covered shape he didn't recognize. He was sure he hadn't passed that before. He turned another way. His light shone on a tall mirror, and for a second, he saw another little flashlight looking back at him, all alone. He turned again. More boxes, more shadows. Which way was the door? His cozy box felt very, very far away. A tiny shiver ran through Torchy's metal body. The happy, creaky sounds of the floor now sounded deep and echoey. The dancing dust specks now looked like they were swirling in confusion. The attic wasn't just big and exciting anymore. It was big and lost. Torchy's bright beam felt a little smaller. What was he going to do? How would he ever find his way back? He was just a little flashlight, all alone in the great big dusty dark. But then, Torchy remembered something very important. He was a flashlight. His job was to shine a light on things, to make the dark feel friendly. And he was also a very good problem solver. He couldn't just roll around hoping. He needed a plan. He needed a map. But there was no paper map in the attic. What could he use? He would use what he could see. He would use colors. He would look for special, colorful landmarks to remember his way. He would find 3 colors to guide him home. He would look for something brown, something yellow, and something blue. If he could find those 3 things in the right order, they would be like bright, colorful signs pointing the way back. Feeling a new buzz of courage, Torchy shone his light straight ahead. He was going to solve this problem. He was going to be brave. He rolled forward slowly, carefully. His beam swept across the floor, over stacks of newspapers, and past a lonely-looking boot. He shone it up onto shelves cluttered with jars of buttons and spools of thread. He was looking for his first color. He was looking for brown. What could that brown thing be? Was it the leg of a table? the handle of a tool, and then he saw it, right in front of him, sitting proudly on a small wooden stool. It was a teddy bear, a beautiful old fluffy teddy bear, and he was a wonderful, warm, chocolatey brown. He wasn't a sharp brown or a dull brown. He was the brown of a sweet cup of cocoa on a chilly day. He was the brown of the richest, fudgiest cake. One of his button eyes was missing, and his fur was a little bit matted, but he had the kindest, gentlest smile stitched onto his face. He looked like he had given thousands of wonderful hugs. He was a friendly, cozy brown. This was perfect. Torchy would remember the kindly brown teddy bear. He made a little mental note. First, find the brown bear. Then you're on the right path. Feeling happier, Torchy gave his beam a little confident shake and rolled on. The attic seemed a little less scary already. On rolled the little flashlight, his beam cutting through the dusty air. Bumpity-bump over the creaky floor, searching for a color, with a hopeful care. His light swept back and forth like a watchful eye. He was looking for his next colorful sign. He was looking for something yellow. What would it be? Something bright and happy, he hoped. He rolled past a stack of hat boxes. He rolled around a giant dusty lamp. And then, his beam of light landed on something that seemed to glow all on its own. There, peeking out from under the frilly edge of a white sheet, was a flash of brilliant sunny yellow. Torchy rolled a little closer. What was it? He nudged the sheet with his side, and the object slid out onto the floor with a soft clunk. It was a toy car. A little old-fashioned car with a cheerful, rounded body. And it was the most wonderful yellow. It wasn't a pale, faint yellow. It was the yellow of a big, bright dandelion flower. It was the yellow of the happiest, sunniest day you can imagine. It looked like it could zoom around the attic floor, spreading sunshine wherever it went. One of its wheels was loose, and it wobbled when Torchy touched it, but that just made it more special. Torchy was so pleased. The sunny yellow car was his second landmark. First the brown bear, then the yellow car. He was solving the problem. His beam grew a little brighter with pride. He was being so courageous. Unrolled the little flashlight with a beam so bold and true. Bumpity-bump, following the clues, just like a brave explorer would do. He just had one more color to find. One more sign to point the way home. He needed to find something blue. He rolled on, past a wobbly stack of picture frames, and under a rocking chair that rocked all by itself for just a second, as if saying hello. Where was the blue? He shone his light into a corner. And there he saw something that made his beam flicker with excitement. It was a big old trunk. And on the side of the trunk, faded but still beautiful, was a painting of a hot air balloon. The balloon was fat and round, and it was painted a magnificent, soft sky blue. It was the blue of a perfect summer sky just after the sun has risen. It was the blue of a gentle, quiet lake. It was a peaceful, happy blue. Painted next to the balloon were little white clouds, looking soft and fluffy. The beautiful blue balloon! That was his third sign. He had done it. He had found all his colors. Brown, yellow, blue. The map was complete in his mind. Now all he had to do was follow them back in the opposite order. He needed to find the blue balloon, then the yellow car, then the brown bear, and that would lead him right to the attic door. Feeling triumphant, Torchy turned around. He would just roll back past the yellow car, and then to the brown bear. Easy. He started rolling, his light beam bouncing confidently. But then, he stopped. He shone his light where the yellow car should have been. But the car was not there. All he saw was the white sheet, still ruffled from where the car had been hiding. The little yellow car was gone. Oh no. A worried buzz ran through Torchy. Where did it go? Had it rolled away? Was his map broken? How would he find his way back without the sunny yellow car? He swung his beam around, searching desperately for that flash of happy yellow. The shadows seemed to lean in closer. The floor gave a particularly loud creak, and Torchy jumped. He was lost all over again. His problem-solving plan was falling apart. But wait. Torchy was a brave flashlight. He remembered his courage. He took a deep breath and stopped panicking. He was a problem solver. If one clue was missing, he would just have to solve the puzzle a different way. Maybe he could find another yellow thing? He shone his light carefully, looking for any other spot of yellow. And that's when he saw it. A tiny little glint of light, a small reflection of his own beam, coming from the floor near the trunk. It wasn't the yellow car. It was something else. What was it? Torchy rolled closer, his light focused on the tiny glint. And there, lying on its side, was a little plastic wheel. A bright, sunny yellow wheel. It must have fallen off the little car when it rolled away. The car itself was gone, but it had left a piece of itself behind. A little yellow clue. Torchy's beam shone with relief. He could use this. The little yellow wheel would be his sign instead of the car. It was even better because it was small and easy to remember. His map was saved. First, find the blue balloon on the trunk. Then, find the little yellow wheel on the floor. Then, find the kind brown bear. That was the way home. So, with his courage shining brighter than ever, Torchy began his journey back. He rolled away from the beautiful blue balloon on the trunk. He kept his light pointed down, and soon he found it, the little sunny yellow wheel sitting right where it had fallen. He rolled past it. Now he just needed to find the brown bear. He moved forward, scanning the area. He saw a box of old clothes. He saw a broken clock. But where was the bear? He started to get a little worried again. Had the bear moved too? But then his beam landed on a familiar, fluffy, chocolate brown ear, peeking out from behind a stack of books. There he was. The kind brown teddy bear was still sitting on his stool, waiting patiently, as if he'd been keeping watch the whole time. He seemed to be smiling his stitched smile right at Torchy, proud of the little flashlight for finding his way. Torchy rolled past the bear, and just ahead he saw it, the sliver of light from the hallway. The attic door! He had done it. He had used his problem-solving skills and his beam of courage. He had found the colors brown, yellow, and blue, and they had guided him all the way home. He rolled through the door as fast as his little body could go, back into the familiar hallway. He rolled right up to his cozy box and nestled inside, clicking off his beam. He was safe. He was home. The attic was still up there, full of whispers and secrets and creaky floors, but Torchy wasn't scared of it anymore. He had explored it. He had solved its puzzles. He had been brave. And as he rested in his box, he thought about his colorful map. The cozy brown bear, the sunny yellow wheel, and the beautiful blue balloon. They were his friends now, and he knew that someday, if he was feeling very courageous again, he might just go back for another adventure. Maybe next time, he would look for a different set of colors. Perhaps something red and green and purple, but that is a story for another time. For now, little listener, it's time for Torchy to rest, and for you to dream of brave adventures and wonderful, colorful maps of your own. Good night. Moral: courage means feeling a little scared, but using your smarts to solve problems and find your way.